Oh, let us say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. Thank you once again for the co-creation of this interaction. We will begin this transmission once again by reminding you that the title is Will He or Won't He? Or, if you wish, Will She or Won't She? The idea being, in general, that many people on your planet talk about this concept called God's will. It's God's will this. It's God's will that. Now, there are many ways to understand this concept. Since you are creating the idea of your life and begin to choose that experience from a higher plane, the spirit level of your being, and create a kind of theme or destiny in your life that you then augment with your free will in physical reality, destiny being the theme or the hallway, free will being how you explore that theme or how you walk down that hallway. Thus, you could, in a sense, relegate the concept of God's will to the idea of the destiny that you yourself set up to explore the theme of being you. So that's one way to look at the concept. But on the broader perspective, the idea doesn't really make sense. Because while many people in their religious philosophy attribute to the concept of God the idea of omniscience, all-knowing, omnipresent, everywhere. If God is, in fact, all-knowing and everywhere, then it is also everything. There can be no space at all that isn't occupied by it, which means you as well, and us, and everything in existence is actually made of God, in a sense. Otherwise, there are places where God would not be. You cannot necessarily literally think that God is everywhere and then say, but it's outside of me. I am outside of it. Otherwise, it is a contradiction to the concept of it being literally omnipresent. So if God is in fact everything, why does it need to exert any will at all over anything? Because it is experiencing itself as all the things that exist. And therefore, whatever it is that may be your will would be synonymous with God's will in the sense that since you are created to be the unique perspective that you are, that is exactly what God, or all that is, as we refer to it, would need you to be in expressing your will. You are expressing God's will that you are you. And therefore, it is expressing itself as you, through you. But the idea then allows you to understand that it doesn't need to exercise dominion or will or force or pressure on anything, because it is, in fact, experiencing itself as everything that is happening all at once. So the idea is that it just is what it is. It experiences itself as its own nature, as its true nature of just being self-aware existence, intelligent existence. So whatever it is that you are as a unique aspect, a unique reflection of that, is part of the concept that you can loosely attribute to God's will. But it would probably serve you more clearly if that concept were realized that, in a sense, doesn't really exist in the way that most people mean it. It is often that we notice that when, again, from certain religious philosophical points of view, something, as you say, goes your way, well, you thank God. But when it doesn't seem to, where's the thanks? Why not thank God for that? Why isn't that part of God's will? The idea, again, is that it creates all sorts of contradictions and conundrums when you start breaking God down in human terms, because it is way beyond that idea. Being everything that there is, we understand that from your perspective, you may need to interpret the idea of all that is in a way that you can comprehend in your physical space-time, human reality to a certain degree. But there is a point at which it goes into contradictions that simply make no sense. If you understand the true nature of all that is, you will automatically start to drop these concepts as old-fashioned, outdated ways of interpreting your relationship to Source, your relationship as different aspects of all that is, and begin to streamline the dialogue and the language that you use to define and describe your relationship with it. Because again, the one is the all. The all are the one. It's all the same thing, experiencing itself in all the ways that it can. If you want to say you are all the eyes of God, that would be a closer idea than the concept of God's will. So the answer, in a sense, is, will he or won't he? No, he won't. Because he doesn't need to. There is no purpose to it. There is no place for it. It makes no sense. So when you go through your life and you exercise your free will in terms of how you will walk the path you chose, the destiny you chose for yourself, so it's still a choice. Again, it may feel like there is some automatic will propelling you forward that you cannot change, but this is simply your own choice from a higher level, because this is the experience you chose to have to allow yourself to discover yourself from a new point of view, a new perspective. But as we have said many times, you can walk that path, walk down that hallway in any way, shape, or form your free will so desires. You can walk, you can run, you can fly, you can crawl, you can go forwards, you can go backwards, you can go left, you can go right, you can stand still, you can jump up and down, you can laugh, you can cry, you can look in every door in the hallway, you can ignore them all. This is up to you as to how to explore the theme you chose to be, because each of you is, in a sense, a theme, a perspective of all that is. Again, using the analogy that you are an infinite hall of mirrors. Whatever the source is, whatever all that is standing at the center, so to speak, but it is also all the mirrors that reflect its reflection back to it. And because of the nature of consciousness and everything being made of it, then every single one of those reflections is also self-aware and conscious, because that's the nature of all that is. Self-awareness. This is what consciousness is. Just being aware that you are a self. So the idea is that without that reflection, without a sense of an other, there can be no self, because there would be nothing to compare your self to. This is why we say that the one is unbroken and homogeneous, has no self-awareness, has no experience whatsoever. But within the one, there is the all that is. That portion of the one that is aware of itself by creating a comparison between itself and the rest of the one. This is the spark that generates the concept of self-awareness and what you call consciousness. And thus, simply being conscious of itself, aware of itself, it is instantaneously aware of itself as everything and every reflection. Just as you might be when you look in a mirror and go, oh, that's me. But the idea is, of course, as we said, because it is all that is, and because consciousness is one of the fundamental qualities of it, then all the reflections are also self-aware and conscious, and reflecting that self-awareness back to all that is, so that it does in fact experience every reflection as being an aspect of itself in the true multidimensional, holographic, metaverse sort of way. And because you are a unique reflection, because your point of view, because you are you, that perspective is never destroyed. No matter how you change with your own free will, with your own freedom to choose, which is your greatest power, the freedom to choose. No matter how you change, the experience will always be being had from your point of view. So even the concept that many religious philosophies have of someday I will blend with God, I will join with God, I will be absorbed by God. Will you lose your identity? No. Because you are all that is from another point of view. Therefore, the idea of blending with God is actually becoming all that is. The experience will happen from your point of view, and this will be true for every single being in creation because of the multidimensional holographic perspective that it happens to everyone from their point of view. And even blending with God, with all that is, being all that is not the end, because there can be different versions of all that is, different perspectives and experience of all that is of itself. And therefore it never began, and so it never ends. It is simply existence. Its only quality is existence, to be, to exist, isness. Time is a creation within existence. Existence is not subject to time. Therefore, allow yourselves the freedom to know that whatever you're experiencing as kind of an automatic urge or push or hallway or conduit or path that seems incapable of being diverted, it is not a pressure from outside in the sense of God's will. It is simply your choice made from a different level that allows you to experience things in the way that you chose to, so that you can, as I said, discover yourself from a very specific and particular point of view, a new perspective that allows you to grow. Because again, that's how creation expands. The structure of existence never changes. It's your experience and perspective of it that does. And that is how you expand creation and yourself, by constantly experiencing new perspectives of your being. Does that make sense? All right. So we thank you for allowing us to express this idea in these terms. And in return for the gift you are giving us, I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? Please begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
I love you guys.
Oh, us guys and gals love all of you.
Okay. So from what you said a couple days ago about voting.
Yes.
When I am aware that I'm in my own reality and I'm creating everything.
Yes.
Sometimes when I talk to people about voting who are spiritual,
yes,
I understand their perspective when they say, why would you buy into the government's idea of voting when...
It's not the government's idea. It's the people's idea. That's how it originated. But it'll take a day to you, this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. Thank you. First and foremost, once again, we will extend our deepest appreciation to every single one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission at this time. We will begin this transmission with the reminder that we have titled it, The Artifacts. Do you need to make adjustments to your technology?
Sounds like it to me. It is what it is.
How profound. I see that you have been paying attention. All right. We shall move forward then by allowing you to understand that we are delivering this information in two parts. This transmission, tonight of your time, will be part one. Part two will be delivered in your year of 2016. This will be an opening, an introduction to this idea. And in 2016, when we deliver part two, it will contain far more detail, a chart, images to explain in more depth what it is we are describing tonight of your time. But the idea is that there have been placed throughout your solar system artifacts that when you begin to move farther and farther out in your solar system into space as a society, you will come across these artifacts that have been left for you, which will contain information that will allow you more understanding of who and what you are. It will aid and assist in your evolution as you move out into space, give you more ability for greater interaction with other extraterrestrial civilizations, and allow you to peer into some deeper mysteries that will be harbingers, precursors of things you will encounter out among the stars to give you an opportunity to prepare for those interactions in a deeper way. Now, the idea is that they are all pyramid shapes, all these artifacts. Starting with, on your planet of Earth, specifically what you call the Great Pyramid at Giza. That is one of them. There are 5 of these artifacts. There used to be 6. But one of them used to be on the planet that has been referred to in your ancient texts as Marduk or Maldek, which has since been destroyed by cosmic collision and is now represented its remnants as the asteroid belt in your system. But there used to be one of these artifacts upon that planet. The reason that this is still known is that this information comes from very, very, very ancient times and has been handed down and copied and copied and copied over millennia by many different civilizations. There are very few references to this left in any of your literature, any of your ancient tablets, but there are a few. One in particular, which we will demonstrate to you in part 2, is on an old Akkadian tablet, a cylinder seal that is 4,500 of your years old. Thereupon is depicted the exact symbol that tells you about these artifacts and where exactly they are placed in your system. Beginning with the one on Earth, the Great Pyramid of Giza, moving outward from the sun because it is all about expanding outward. The next one is a pyramid that exists on your moon. Now, some people on your planet are already aware of this, of its existence, but this information has not been fully made public. It will one day. Nevertheless, that is where the second artifact is, of a pyramidal shape that mirrors and matches that of Giza and contains information that will help you on your journey outward through your system toward the stars. The next pyramidal artifact exists on the planet you call Mars. This will contain not only information to help you in your evolution and again aid and assist you in your outward expansion to the stars, but will also contain information that speaks of some of your lost history so that you can really begin to gather back together an understanding of the path that you have taken, both physiologically and spiritually, that has brought you to this point of transformation on your planet of Earth at this time. Now, as we said, the next artifact would have been on the planet Maldek, but has since been destroyed and is now simply represented by the remnants that you call the asteroid belt. But going farther out, the next artifact after the Earth, after your moon, after Mars, is on Saturn's moon of Titan. So there you will find another pyramid that will contain great information at that point that you are capable of reaching that moon of Saturn. You will find it will contain many things that you need to understand how you can interact with different kinds of civilizations and how you can also propel yourselves in a new direction, energetically, spiritually, physiologically, as Earth becomes and is becoming in its process what we have termed the 6th hybrid race, and how you will be given more information about the different kinds of groups, the different kinds of councils, the different kinds of associations and alliances that Earth potentially can belong to, again, as you claim more and more and more of your heritage and move out farther and farther in your system toward the stars. The final pyramid is on your dwarf planet of Pluto, at the edge of your system. And thus, by the time you reach that one and understand its mysteries, you will have truly become a full-fledged member of the Interstellar Alliance and will have before you many different kinds of choices that may seem unimaginable to you right now and for which there may not even be adequate description in your language. For you will have changed so greatly by then as a society and as a species as to really make available to you upon the discovery of that final artifact, that final pyramid, many more options than are available to you now that will propel you to the stars in another way and will allow you to understand truly your place in creation and will expand your abilities into the realm that at this point would seem like magic to you. So these artifacts have been placed there for you as markers, so you know that you always have assistance, that you will never ultimately forget who you are, no matter what may happen physiologically in your system. There will always be something there that will remind you, put you back in touch, center you with your roots, with your heritage, and also with where you are going, where you are heading, again, both physiologically and spiritually, as you connect and expand to more and more and more of your greater being. Does this make sense to you? Yes. All right. So as we said in part 2, we will go into deeper explanations and have graphs and charts to explain this in more detail. And the reason for this is that there must be a realignment of certain information that has been presented in your society so that you can understand how to look at that information very differently. This is connected to the idea of contact in a variety of ways. And as we present the more detailed explanation in part 2 in your year of 2016, you will begin to understand more clearly why this information is being presented to your society at this time. For there are many things that are about to happen that will bring about many different kinds of changes in your reality. And having this knowledge and this understanding, even to this small degree, will better prepare you for what is to come. So, we present this to you now to wrap your minds around, to just take it in however it is you feel is appropriate for you to take it in, and to know that it will do what it needs to do to lay the foundations within you for clearer understanding of what is to come. So we thank you for allowing us to deliver part 1 of this information, of the artifacts to you in this way at this time. So please stay tuned in your year of 2016 for part 2. In return for the gift that you are giving us in allowing us to serve you in this way, then we will ask, how may we serve you further at this time with your interactive dialogue of questions and answers? Please begin however you prefer.